In past so many videos I have covered multiple borders with flowers and leaves in it using watercolor or brush pen, but in today's video I'm going to draw two different border design, and this is going to be super simple even if you are a beginner. So let's define the thickness of the border first. So based on your design you can keep the thickness as per your need. I'm keeping the thickness of my border as per my scale size, as you can see. Again, this step is optional to keep things in a precision. You can do these things, you can subdivide these border into multiple sections and you can work accordingly. But in today's video I'm not going to do all those things. I'm simply going to create some design and pattern into it, keeping the border intact. Now for the first border I'm trying to create some spiral kind of design like this, and again, as I told you, I'm not dividing into subsection, so I'm roughly doing it to make it same for all three sections that I have. So I want to keep it same as the first one. You can end up having little different, but it's totally fine to start with. And for the last one we cannot cover the whole spiral, so I'm keeping it incomplete. Now think about creating more design and pattern into it. I don't have any idea as of now in my mind, so I'm simply creating few different floral pattern, leaf pattern into it, and I'm trying to make same kind of pattern throughout my border. So one spiral you can assume it as one section, and whatever you are doing, try to repeat the same thing throughout. Now I have created two oval kind of pattern at the base, and I'm creating this leaf kind of pattern, half leaf kind of pattern on the left side. I want to keep this as much as close to each other as possible, but if you are keeping it little bigger, little smaller, it's fine. Now let's create the border outline with the help of needle pen. You can use normal ball pen as well. I have defined few structure little bit outer side of the border, so that is something you can do. I have done it specifically. This is not my mistake. I did it by my choice. So I'm keeping few elements little outer to the border, and something like this you can see at the end. You can create a number of design and pattern based on your choice. This is just an example, so nothing to copy as such. You can create better than and more beautiful designs as per your choice, as per your need. So let me trace everything with the help of needle pen. I'm using 0.8 mm needle pen. You can use normal ball pen, as I said. If you want to do some practice, it's not necessary to use some fancy pen or something like that. You can simply grab some normal ball pen or pencil to create these kind of things. Now we are done with the tracing. Rub all the unwanted pencil mark so that you can see things clearly. Now let's move to the second border. Now in the second border also I'm keeping the design and pattern simple, and I'm trying to replicate the same thing throughout, keeping the same kind of distance. So I'm creating this leaf kind of pattern. In between I have little gap. I want to keep this gap same throughout the border, and because we don't have subsections, sometimes it is difficult. So if you find it really difficult for yourself, you can divide your border into multiple sections, and then you can try all these things so that you will end up having precise things for yourself. So this is a leaf kind of pattern. Now let's do something else in it. What we can do, let's create one oval kind of shape, little bit outer side of the border. As I said, I do not have any predefined design in my mind. I'm doing it now in front of you guys. So likewise you can create different pattern and design. So one more oval kind of shape, both the side left and right. I think we can add a spiral kind of structure at the end of the leaf. The last one, as we don't have much space, so half part is hidden, as you can assume like that, and create all these things. Now let's create few more object. In this particular gap I'm creating 3 oval kind of shape, bigger, smaller and bit smaller than previous two, and I'm repeating the same thing what I am doing for the first one. So as you can see, whatever I am doing for the first one I am repeating throughout the border so that we can get the consistency. Now I think this much design is fine. Let me trace things. Let's trace everything. Again I'm using 08mm needle pen, and once you will trace things you can define the border, you can trace the border as well, and then we are going to do some extra detailing inside these pattern and throughout the border as well. So once you are done with the tracing things, you can rub all the unwanted pencil mark that you can see, and you can also create the border. I have purposefully kept few element outside the border, so you can keep something like that. And we are done with both the borders as far as outlining is concerned. Now let's contour the elements that we have. So for the contouring I'm not doing very much detailing into it. I'm simply contouring with few dotted line and solid lines like this for all the elements that we have. So all the leaf kind of shape that we have and all the oval kind of shape that we have, contour things with the solid line and dotted line, and whatever you are doing for the first pattern, repeat the same thing throughout. So for the oval shape I am creating one more smaller oval shape and a few more smaller oval shape with the dotted line and solid line. So something like this you can do throughout the border. So I don't want to do much inside the element, so I'm keeping it like this, very simple. You can create some lines like this, but whatever you are doing, make sure you are doing for every other element that you have inside your border. So I'm repeating exactly the same thing what I am doing for the first one. Now do the same thing for the second border as well. So for this one again I am contouring things with few dotted line and solid line. Contouring means creating same kind of lines as per your object shape, and hatching means creating parallel lines to each other. So that's the difference between contouring and hatching. So right now we are contouring because we are going through the object shape only, and I want to keep it simple. I don't want to fill the object too much, so that's why I'm keeping very less element into it. You can add few lines in the bigger leaf like this in the middle. The only thing that we need to consider is make sure you're repeating the same thing what you're doing for the first one. So I think this much is enough, some dotted line and solid line, and this much is fine for now. Now I want to fill throughout the border with some lines in it. So for the first border I am creating vertical lines like this and keeping the border little thicker as compared to the middle lines. So I'm going through the border edges, keeping it little thicker than the other lines. You can do it with bigger pen as well, and then start hatching the whole area except the elements that we have. Again, as I told you, hatching means creating parallel lines. You can keep the distance of these lines as per your need. The more closer line means more darker shade you will get, and the less closure line means less darker shade you will get. So I'm keeping it quite close to each other. So take all your time to draw these lines and fill all the area except the elements that we have. So that's why we are able to see the design clearly, and we have negative space as well, which is very important in any aspects of drawing and painting. keeping the border a little bit thicker and then creating all these lines. I'm repeating the same thing, so I'm going in a higher speed, but make sure you're doing it slowly, gradually, and filling all these area precisely. Keep the distance same. It should not be like you have more distance at one place and less distance lines in another place. See how beautiful this border is now looking like. And then in the border lines as well, you can create some dotted line and solid line to finish the border. So repeat the same thing both the side, and we are done with the first one. Now I'm repeating the same kind of thing on the second one as well, except the hatching part. So again, keep the border a little thicker, and then you can end up having solid line and dotted line. But to fill the border, this time again I'm hatching, but not vertically but horizontally. So I'm keeping the line horizontal, not vertical, keeping the lines at very close to each other so that we can get some nice shading in the border. Again, it's totally up to you how much distance you want to keep. And like for the first one, again we are not going inside the element that we have created, we are just filling the other areas that we have, just like the first one. The only difference is we are hatching in a different direction. So in the first one we hatched the things vertically, in this one we are hatching the lines horizontally. You can also cross hatch or cross contour things. Cross hatching means creating cross lines against all these parallel lines that we have, and then you will get more shades into your drawing, but I think this much is fine. So let me repeat the same thing throughout my border so that we can see the elements clearly like we have created. That's why I haven't kept so many things inside the element. I want negative space, so I'm keeping it like that. So do until the end, and then you can create some dotted line and solid line around the border as well, just to finish this one. And this is just an example. You can create so many border pattern with multiple varieties of leaves and flowers and patterns into it, and you can create something like this. You can design this border throughout your sheet, and then you can do something in the middle. So hope you have liked this video, and I'm hoping this video is helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and see you guys in the next video.